Today's episode of Matt's Minutes is brought to you by the power of Grayskull.
And I became He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe.
Well, obviously I'm not He-Man, but today's topic is going to be pretty universal. Sony recently announced that they would be doing a reboot of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe movie. With this in mind, we decided it would be a good idea to take you through the history of He-Man, where he came from, his previous incarnations of television shows, the 1987 movie, and what may come. With that in mind, let's start with He-Man's origins, how he came to be. In 1982, Mattel released a line of toys depicting a blonde barbarian with a magical sword called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This toy line also came with a series of books, which later would be turned into the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe comics, which we'll talk about a little bit later. In 1983, the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series was released, depicting our hero Prince Adam, Prince of Eternia, and son of King Randor and Queen Marlena. Also were depicted Cringer, his pet green tiger who is afraid of everything, the Sorceress of Grayskull, who gave Adam his power sword and can communicate with him telepathically, Adam's mentor, Man-at-Arms, whose proper name is Duncan, and Orko, the court magician. And then, of course, there was Teela, daughter of Man-at-Arms and Adam's love interest, the only woman who can do a backflip in heels wearing a onesie to show off her perky butt, proving that even these 80s shows had fan service. In 1987, a live-action movie based on the cartoon series was released. In contrast to its cartoon counterpart, Masters of the Universe turned out to be a major disappointment. Starring Dolph Lundgren as He-Man and Frank Langella as Skeletor, this could have turned out a lot worse than it did, but not by very much. In 1990, Mattel decided to reintroduce He-Man by releasing a new line of toys along with the accompanying comic book series, which then led to a new cartoon series called The New Adventures of He-Man. In this newest incarnation of the series, He-Man travels to the future in a world called Primus. There, aided by a new team of defenders called the Galactic Guardians, he must do battle with Skeletor once again for the sake of the galaxy. Instead of Filmation, the artistry was given to a company called Jetlag Productions, who gave it a more futuristic look, including both Skeletor's and He-Man's costumes and He-Man's sword. This show only lasted for one season and wasn't met by very good reviews. As the turn of the century came and went, Mattel decided they wanted to recapture the original series by creating a new line of toys entitled He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Once again, this line of toys created its own cartoon series of the same name, and for all intents and purposes was a reboot of the original, including Adam's introductory speech, which is pretty much word for word the same as the original.
Adam, Prince of Eternia, defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. This is Cringer, my fearless friend.
The show brought back several of the characters from the original series, which I wholly approve of, and ran for 2 seasons, making it marginally successful. It was at this point that the television series tapered off, and the comic book series really took into effect. There were several different stories that went into the comic books. DC picked it up and created its own line of Masters of the Universe comics, including but not limited to a DC Masters crossover in which Skeletor travels to Earth and He-Man follows him and is greeted by the Justice League. Wouldn't that be a nice movie? Recently, Sony announced that they would be redoing the Masters of the Universe live-action movie. And although a director has not been decided on as of yet, and it is still unclear as to when the movie will take place, fans remain hopeful. Earlier this year, Devon Franklin, who's the Senior VP of Production for Sony and Columbia Pictures, unveiled a sepia-toned photo of an armor-clad feline that could possibly be the studio's Masters of the Universe concept art for Battle Cat. Now, I followed Mr. Franklin on Twitter, and he says that it was revealed development on the He-Man reboot would be entirely dependent on the recently named Sony Pictures chairman, Tim Rothman. And although there is no news as of yet, he promises that he will keep in touch as soon as some news becomes available. For all of us, we hope that there will be news soon, but as it turns out, there's no way of knowing when or even if this movie will ever get off the ground. Well, I hope that all of this has been entertaining for you guys. I know it's been a heck of a ride for me. So until then, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, check us out on Facebook at Nowhere California Podcast, and be sure to comment on the video in the comments below, or send us an email at nowhere_California@yahoo.com.
This is Josh. This is Phil. And welcome to Nowhere, California.